That pasta sitting in your shopping cart isn't what you think it is. The Italian-sounding name, the old-world font, the promise of 100% durum wheat, all of it is designed to make you feel safe, authentic, traditional, but behind the box. Many popular pasta brands are cutting corners in ways most people never notice. Some are extruded through plastic instead of bronze, so sauce slides right off. Others are made from refined flour stripped of nutrients, then rebuilt with synthetic vitamins. And some once great brands were quietly destroyed after corporate buyouts, leaving only the name intact. I spent weeks digging into how America's pasta is really made, and what I found will make you rethink that familiar blue box forever. In this video, we're exposing 5 pasta brands you should avoid and revealing 3 that are actually worth your money. By the end, you'll know exactly what real pasta is, how to spot the fakes instantly, and how to choose pasta that actually deserves a place in your pantry. Worst number 1. Colavita. Colavita looks like everything premium pasta should be. The Italian name, the flag on the box. The promise of 100% durum wheat semolina. Most shoppers see it imported from Italy and assume buying the same pasta Italians eat at home. That assumption is exactly where the deception begins. Yes, Colavita is made in Italy. Yes, it uses durum wheat. But flip the box around and read the ingredient list carefully. You'll find niacin, thiamine, mononitrate, riboflavin, folic acid, and ferrous sulfate. Those aren't natural components of wheat. They are synthetic vitamins added back after the grain was heavily refined. This is the American enrichment model disguised as European tradition. Real Italian pasta doesn't strip grain down and rebuild it with lab-made nutrients. It simply uses quality semolina and water. Brands that follow traditional Italian methods don't need enrichment because their wheat hasn't been gutted in the first place. What Colavita is doing is tailoring its product to the US market, where enriched sounds nutritious on paper. The wheat is refined, the natural nutrients are removed during processing. And then petroleum-derived vitamins are added back so it looks healthy again. You're not paying for purity. You're paying for marketing wrapped in an Italian accent. The irony is brutal. You're spending premium money believing you're avoiding industrial food, when in reality, you're buying processed pasta with synthetic additives, just produced overseas. For families trying to eat clean, for shoppers avoiding ultra-processed foods, this is a quiet betrayal. Colavita isn't the worst pasta because it's unsafe. It's the worst because it pretends to be something it isn't. Imported doesn't automatically mean authentic. And in this case, Italian heritage is being used to sell a product built on the same industrial shortcuts people are trying to escape. This is where the pattern begins. Familiar names, comforting labels, and quality quietly sacrificed behind the scenes. Worst number 2. Aldi pasta. Aldi's pasta looks like the ultimate budget win. Low prices, fun shapes for kids. Familiar names like penne, fettuccine, and farfalle. On the shelf, it feels like smart shopping. In the pot, it tells a very different story. About 2 years ago, Aldi quietly changed manufacturers. At the same time, boxers shrank from 16 ounces to 12 ounces. And many pastas moved from sturdy boxes into thin plastic bags. That combination wasn't an accident. It was a cost-cutting move, and the quality collapse was immediate. Cook Aldi pasta now, and watch what happens. Farfalle split at the center pinch. Penne cracks along the seams. Fettuccine shreds before it ever reaches al dente. This isn't overcooking, it's a structural failure. Pasta only behaves this way when the dough formulation, drying process, or semolina quality has been compromised. Good pasta survives boiling because gluten forms a strong internal network. That network depends on proper hydration and slow-controlled drying. Aldi's new supplier appears to rush this process, likely using higher drying temperatures or lower quality semolina. The result is pasta that looks fine when dry but falls apart under heat. Parents notice it immediately. The cute shapes marketed to kids are the worst offenders. Seasonal pastas, novelty cuts, and bow ties disintegrate into fragments, leaving you fishing pieces out of cloudy water. Whatever money you saved at checkout disappears when half the meal turns to mush. What makes this especially deceptive is that Aldi still sells some bronze-cut Italian pasta in bags that performs just fine. That tells you everything. The failure isn't pasta in general, it's the cheap, reformulated boxed lines designed to hit a price point, not a quality standard. At around $1 per pound, Aldi pasta seems like a bargain. But pasta that breaks before it reaches your plate isn't affordable. It's waste. This isn't a fluke. It's a predictable outcome of cost-cutting decisions made far away from your kitchen. Aldi didn't lower prices by getting more efficient. They lowered them by lowering the bar. In boiling water, the truth comes apart fast. Worst number. 3. San Giorgio. If Aldi's pasta fails in the pot, San Giorgio fails before the water even boils. San Giorgio has been around since the early 1900s. It's a legacy American pasta brand, stocked in nearly every grocery store, priced to feel safe and reliable. Many families buy it out of habit, assuming a century-old name guarantees consistency. Then they open the box. Broken shells. Shattered farfalle. Cracked pieces before cooking even starts. This isn't shipping damage. This is manufacturing weakness, baked directly into the product. Farfalle is one of the hardest pasta shapes to make correctly. That pinched center creates tension. If the dough isn't properly hydrated or the drying process is rushed, the stress concentrates at that pinch point and the pasta snaps. When you find broken bow ties straight out of the box, it means the pasta was already structurally compromised at the factory. San Giorgio's problem isn't ingredient deception. The nutrition label looks normal. Protein is standard. Carbohydrates are expected. There's no sodium trick or artificial additive scandal here. This is something simpler and worse for your dinner. It's quality control collapse. To save money, budget pasta manufacturers often speed up drying times or use lower-grade semolina. Faster drying creates brittle pasta. Cheaper wheat produces weaker gluten networks. Either way, the result is pasta that can't survive normal handling, let alone boiling water. The consumers report the same experience again and again. You pour the pasta into the pot and watch fragments sink to the bottom. Even when cooked gently, the pieces fracture. Sauces don't cling because there's nothing left for them to hold on to. At roughly 80 cents per pound, San Giorgio looks like a steal. But pasta that breaks in the box isn't food, it's crumbs. You're not saving money if half the meal is unusable. You're just paying less for failure. This is the hidden cost of ultra-budget pasta. Not worse flavor, not fewer nutrients. Broken structure. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. Worst number. For Banza, the bright orange box promises everything modern shoppers want. High protein, gluten-free, clean ingredients. Influencers praise it. Nutrition labels look impressive. And millions of people believe they've found a direct replacement for traditional pasta. That brand is Banza, and this is where the pasta illusion fully breaks. Banza isn't made from wheat. It's made from chickpeas, pea protein, tapioca starch, and xanthan gum. Just for ingredients, which sounds reassuring until you realize why 3 of them exist. Wheat pasta holds together because gluten creates a natural elastic network. Chickpeas don't have gluten, so Banza relies on industrial binders to mimic what wheat does naturally. That's why cooking Banza feels completely different. Cook it 30 seconds too long, and it collapses into mush. The water foams aggressively and boils over. You can't walk away from the pot. You have to babysit it. Even when cooked correctly, the texture is chewy, grainy, and nothing like semolina pasta. This isn't user error, it's physics. The real problem shows up later. Banza reheats terribly. Leftovers turn stiff, gummy, and unpleasant. That alone disqualifies it for meal prep, even though it's marketed as a convenient, healthy staple. Traditional wheat pasta reheats just fine. Brown rice pasta reheats fine. Chickpea pasta does not. You're paying about $3 per box for something that requires special timing, can't be reheated, doesn't behave like pasta. Doesn't taste like pasta. Banza isn't evil. Represented. This is not pasta. It's a legume-based specialty product pretending to replace a food that relies on completely different chemistry. If you want chickpeas, eat chickpeas. If you want pasta, this isn't it. The most deceptive part is the protein marketing. Yes, it has more protein per serving, but that protein comes with compromised texture, cooking difficulty, and usability. You're trading function for numbers on a label. For people who bought Banza thinking it was a healthier version of normal pasta, it's not. It's a different food entirely, and one that demands you adjust your cooking expectations and leftovers around it. In the next chapter, we hit the biggest name of all, the one sitting in nearly every American pantry, and explain why familiarity doesn't mean quality. Best number, 1 Barilla. This is the one sitting in almost every pantry. The brand most Americans trust without question. The pasta people buy on autopilot, Barilla, and that trust is exactly the problem. Barilla was founded in Parma, Italy, in 1877. 4 generations. They made pasta the traditional way, bronze-cut, slow-dried, using high-quality durum wheat. That reputation still powers the brand today. But what most Americans don't realize is that the pasta in the familiar blue box sold in the U.S. is not the same pasta Italians eat. The American version is extruded through Teflon dies, not bronze. That single decision changes everything. Bronze-cut pasta has a rough, matte surface that grabs sauce like Velcro. Teflon-cut pasta comes out smooth, shiny, and slick, almost plastic-like. Sauce doesn't cling. It slides off. If you've ever made carbonara with Barilla and watched the sauce pool at the bottom while the noodles sit naked on top, that SY. Then there's the ingredient deception. Barilla's U.S. pasta uses enriched semolina. That means the wheat is refined, stripped of its natural nutrients, then rebuilt with synthetic B vitamins like niacin and thiamine mononitrate. Real Italian pasta doesn't do this. It doesn't need to. Why quality semolina already contains what it should. So why does Barilla do it? Because Americans expect enriched flour, and Barilla optimize their product for American regulations and American cost efficiency, not Italian tradition. The Italian-made Barilla sold in Europe uses bronze dyes and avoids enrichment. The American version does not. Same logo, same brand, completely different product. To make matters worse, the wheat used for us Barilla pasta is non-organic, which means it's commonly treated with glyphosate-based herbicides before harvest. That residue survives processing and ends up on your plate. You're not just eating pasta, you're eating industrial agriculture shortcuts. And yet Barilla charges premium prices justified not by quality, but by marketing. TV commercials, end cap displays, brand recognition, familiarity, at around $1.75 per pound. Barilla costs the same as genuinely better pasta that uses bronze, dyes, and traditional methods. You're paying for advertising, not craftsmanship. Barilla isn't the worst pasta because it's unsafe. It's the worst because it pretends to be something it no longer is. An Italian heritage brand selling American industrial pasta under an Italian name. In the next chapter, we finally turn the corner and show you proof that good pasta still exists if you know where to look. Best number, to Mueller and DeSecco after exposing pasta brands that cut corners, mislead with heritage, or collapse in the pot, we finally arrive at the turning point. Because good pasta still exists, and it doesn't require luxury prices or Italian romance to be real. Let's start with the most underestimated pasta in America. Muller's. Muller's is boring. No Italian flags, no poetic backstory, no influencer hype. And that's exactly why it works. Founded in 1867 and now owned by Treehouse Foods, Muller's somehow avoided the fate that destroys most legacy brands after corporate buyouts. The recipe wasn't optimized. The drying time wasn't slashed into oblivion. The wheat quality wasn't downgraded to dust. Yes, it uses enriched semolina, so it's not perfect. But unlike Barilla, Muller's semolina is actual durum wheat, not watered-down filler. That shows up immediately when you cook it. The pasta holds its shape. It doesn't disintegrate. It doesn't turn mushy at minute 10. The protein content is 8 grams per serving, higher than most mass-market brands, which translates to better structure in chew. Sauce sticks reasonably well, not because of bronze dyes, but because the pasta isn't overprocessed into slick plastic. Mueller's is consistent batch after batch, and that matters when you're recooking for a family. At around $1.60 per pound, it delivers something rare: reliability. Muller's proves that American-made pasta doesn't have to be trash. Now let's talk about the brand Barilla wants you to think it is. DeSecco. DeSecco is what happens when a company never sells out. Founded in 1886 and still family-controlled, Disecco continues to use bronze dyes, slow drying, and high-quality durum wheat. No synthetic vitamins, no enrichment. Run your fingers over uncooked Disecco pasta, and you'll feel it, that rough, sandy texture that screams sauce adhesion. Cook it, and you get true al dente. Resistance, elasticity, bite.
Ow.
Make cacio e pepe or carbonara with Disecco, and watch the sauce emulsify properly, coating every strand instead of sliding off. This is what pasta is supposed to do. The ingredient list is almost insulting in its simplicity. Durum wheat, semolina, water. That's it. No marketing tricks. No lab rebuilds. No plastic extrusion. And here's the kicker. Disecco often costs the same, or only slightly more than Barilla. At roughly $3 per pound, you're paying for actual craftsmanship, not commercials. Muller's proves that basic pasta can still be honest. Disecco proves that traditional pasta never stopped working. One is the best value in American grocery stores. The other is the gateway to real Italian pasta without luxury pricing. After plastic dyes, broken shapes, synthetic vitamins, and corporate deception, these brands remind us of something simple. Pasta doesn't need innovation. It needs restraint. In the final chapter, we all look at the truly elite tier, the pasta made for people who care more about methods than marketing. And why not all premium pasta is worth the price. Best number, 3 Sfoglini. This final tier isn't about convenience, price, or mass appeal. This is pasta for people who care how food is made, not how it's advertised. These brands don't chase shelf space. They don't optimize for speed. They don't compromise drying times to please accountants. And because of that, they produce pasta that behaves, tastes, and feels fundamentally different. Let's start in America. Sfoglini. Sfoglini proves that craft pasta doesn't have to come from Italy to be legitimate. Based in New York, they rejected industrial shortcuts entirely. While most pasta is dried in 3 to 4 hours at high heat, Sfoglini dries theirs for 9 hours at low temperatures. That alone changes everything. Slow drying preserves flavor. It preserves structure. It preserves nutrients that high heat destroys. Combined with bronze-cut extrusion, the result is pasta with a deep, weedy flavor and serious sauce-grabbing texture. Sfoglini even collaborated on cascatelli, a shape engineered for sauce adhesion that won a James Beard Award. That tells you there. Priorities, function over tradition, quality over nostalgia. The texture is chewier than mass-market pasta. Some people love it, some don't, but it's honest. Around $6 per pound, you're paying for time, not branding. Now let's go to Italy, the real Italy. Sataro. Sataro has been making pasta near Naples for 3 generations, using the same methods their grandfather used. They've refused acquisition offers. They've refused shortcuts. They've refused modernization that destroys quality. The ingredients? Durum wheat, semolina, water, no enrichment, no synthetic vitamins. Because real semolina doesn't need rebuilding. Sataro uses bronze dyes and slow drying, creating pasta with toothsome resistance and serious integrity. It holds up to aggressive sauces. It doesn't collapse. It doesn't turn slick. It eats like pasta's supposed to eat. At about $3.50 per pound, Sataro delivers one of the best quality to price ratios in the entire category, better than many brands charging double. And finally, the gold standard. Rusticella d'Abruzzo. This is not everyday pasta. Rusticella dries its pasta for 40 to 50 hours at extremely low temperatures. That's not marketing. That's obsession. The result is pasta with visible roughness, porous structure, and intense grain flavor. When you touch it uncooked, it feels almost abrasive, like microscopic hooks. That texture isn't aesthetic. It's functional. Sauce doesn't coat this pasta. It integrates with it. Cook it, and you'll notice something else. You eat slower. The density and resistance force you to chew, to pay attention. This is pasta designed to be the star, not a background vehicle for sauce. At $5, $6 per pound, it's expensive, and it's not 4 times better than budget pasta. But it is meaningfully better. And that difference comes from time, grain quality, and refusal to compromise. Use rusticella for simple dishes. Uglio, Iolio, Cassio, e pepe, carbonara. Don't bury it under heavy rag. This pasta deserves respect. Every time you buy pasta, you're voting for how food should be made. You're voting for speed or patience, marketing or methods, plastic shortcuts or real grain. Most people never realize their pasta fell apart because it was rushed, rebuilt, and optimized for profit instead of nourishment. They blame themselves. The truth is, the product failed them. Now you know better. You know which brands rely on synthetic vitamins, Teflon dyes, and industrial drying, and which ones still respect time, texture, and tradition. You know that real pasta doesn't need fixing in a lab, and it doesn't need a massive advertising budget to justify its price. So the next time you stand in that aisle, don't reach for the familiar blue box out of habit. Read the label. Feel the texture. Choose brands that treat food like food, not like a commodity. Your dinner deserves better. Your body deserves better. And now you won't settle for less.